Om. 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 Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Veena ji, can you do the Dhyana shlokas, please?
जी सर। हरि ओम। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे फुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयः प्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्स सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् भीष्मद्रोणतटा जयद्रथजल गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैरणनदी कैवर्तकः केशवः पाराशर्यवचा सरोजममलं गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटम् नानाख्यानककेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितम् लोके सज्जनषट्पदैरहरः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयात् भारतपङ्कजं कलिमल प्रध्वंसिनः श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुत स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुसुरासुरगणा देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः।
So, for those Asimji, Mona, for you, these are the Gita Dhyana shlokas. They are popularly ascribed to Sri Madhusudan Saraswati. I'm not sure whether there is an authoritative text which shows that Madhusudan Saraswati actually compiled them. They are compilations. They are not exactly creations. They are not written by him, not all of them. So this is the Dhyana shloka to Gita. We are in chapter 11 and we are going to be doing verse number 39. So till now, what have we seen in chapter 11? What are we seeing? We are seeing that Arjuna is in the presence of Ishvara. He is in the presence of that immensity within which he is seeing. Now, Ishvara, you have to remember, is still dual. There is Ishvara and there is me, right? So it's not non-dual. But from an Advaitic standpoint, Ishvara is Saguna Brahman. Brahman with attributes. And why is that necessary? That construct itself. Why does Ishvara have an independent existence beyond us? Yes. Unequivocally, yes. That is an experience. However, that is that construct also necessary? Yes, it is necessary because our mind can't grasp something which is attributeless, formless, something that just exists. something that is just existing. Now, because we are stuck with name and form. See, I am sitting on something, and if I tell you I am sitting on wood, you will say, "Arey, what wood? You are sitting on a chair. Right? My table is on wood. Arey, no, it's on chair. No, I am not care. I don't care about the table or chair. I just know what is it actually made up of. Now, I can't function in the world with that, right? Because if I tell you, please bring some wood for me to sit, and bring some more wood for me to put my table, put my laptop. Now you are going to be confused with whatever you bring, and I am going to be irritated with what you bring. So we need the name and form to be able to function in the world. What is important is for us to understand that the name and form is exactly just that. It is only name and form. The reality is that it comprises of something which is more eternal. The name and form will keep changing. The wood was once a part of tree, then it got cut into planks, then it got made into some sort of a shape, that it became a chair. And after a few years, after the chair becomes old, it will go into some firewood. In all this, there is a transition that is happening. What is it? That is the substratum. But unfortunately, since we can't grasp that at one go, we need to go through a series of steps. In that, one of the important steps that we have is the presence of Ishvara. But when we see that presence of Ishvara and we are not ready for it, like Arjuna was not ready, and he just jumped into it, what happens is there is a sense of awe, there is a sense of wonder, there is a sense of fear, there is a sense of complete dissolution happening, a complete sense of lack of direction, lack of place, form. And when we have seen in the earlier verses, he's saying, I can't see beyond you. I can see to the left, I can see to the right, I can see above, I can see below, and it's all you. It is all you. See, when you are not prepared for this, it is scary. Just imagine, and I've used this analogy earlier also for everybody here. Just imagine you are on a raft in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. And the Pacific Ocean doesn't have any waves at this point of time, no tsunami is happening. To the ends of the horizon, where the horizon is actually even merged with the sky, you can't differentiate. Where is the horizon? Where is the sky ending? Where is the ocean ending? And you are there, one small speck floating. What will be your reaction? Fear. Why? Because I identify with my body. I identify with my mind. I identify with my intellect. And therefore, I am feeling, this is a wave that may overwhelm me. There is a shark that may come and swallow me up. There is so many things that I am now imagining that will happen to me. Similarly, Arjuna has landed up there. Yes, Raghuji, I'll come back to you. So similarly, Arjuna has landed up there. Now, if he was prepared for it, what would have happened? Let's take a different example. Narayana Bhattatri was a composer. Amazing Sanskrit that he has written in. It's a compilation, rather a recreation of the entire Srimad Bhagavat in 10 dashakas of 100 shlokas each, so 10,000 shlokas. And he has recreated the entire Srimad Bhagavatam and taken only the 10 avatars. Srimad Bhagavat has 24 specific avatars which have been described. He has taken only the 10 popular ones. Started with the Matsya avatar, ended with the Kalki avatar, and moved into devotion and so on. So he was a resident of a place called Guruvayur in Kerala. And he was sitting there and he used to write. And every day in the afternoon, he was suffering from leprosy, incidentally. He was suffering from what is called Galita Kushta, weeping leprosy. It's supposed to be very painful. Now, we have medication which helps us overcome that disease. But when it was used to be there, it was very painful. The organ which has started melting doesn't pain. The tip where it is still destroying the nerves becomes very painful. So in that pain, he was writing and praising the Lord, writing all about his leelas. And every day, Guruvayur in the form of Guruvayurappan is Krishna himself, would come in the form of a small boy, come to Narayan Bhattatri's house and eat with him. So one day, Narayan Bhattatri was waiting, and the young boy didn't come. And then he came after some time. When he came, Narayan Bhattatri started scolding him and said, What is this? You know, I'm an old man. I'm waiting for you for such a long time. I've been hungry. Until you come, I can't eat. So this small boy said, you see, at the end of the street, there is this family which is staying over there. They were calling me and I had to go there also. They are Shudras. Narayan Bhattatri says they are Shudras. Narayan Bhattatri's hand was caught by this young boy who took him out. And it happened. Every leaf, every tree, every house, everything that was world, even the smallest speck of dust, everything was shining with the divine consciousness called Vishnu, whatever you want to call it. Sarvam Vishnumayam Jagat. What happened to Bhattatri? Did he feel afraid? No, he didn't feel afraid. He was prepared. And he went into ecstasy. And he has tears of joy falling from his eyes. To be in that presence requires us to prepare for it. Arjuna, unfortunately, was not prepared. He was jumped into it. I will give you a different perspective, he says. Krishna says. And he changed the perspective. And tuck, it happened. Now, this is scary. Right? Yes, Raghuji, your question. Mute.
So when he's seeing something, he cannot comprehend how scary it is. And I'm seeing this every day. My father is now completely overcome by dementia. Now what happens? The memory goes. So the place where he is suddenly an alien place. The memory of people go. For instance, you're seeing me now completely shaven. You used to see me with a goatee beard. Later, when I went for the Kailash Yatra, I had a full beard. Okay. When my father saw me like that, he used to think that I'm his father. He wanted to fall at my feet. So I hastily shaved off my beard so that I look a little younger to him. But it's a fear. I mean, the people with dementia have such... It's amazing. We live with all our rule systems built around us. The moment the rule systems go, it is terrifying, absolutely terrifying. So I'm bringing this up because it's a stage we go through. And I can now fully understand what Arjuna is going through. I mean, when he completely cannot comprehend what he is seeing, there is suddenly nothing makes sense and everything makes sense. He knows that that is Vishwarupa. But then it doesn't make sense. So I can understand his fear.
So, very good point that you raised, because you see, the medico-biological definition of consciousness and the spiritual definition of consciousness are completely different. Right? When we say medico-biological definition of consciousness, that means that under anesthesia, in deep sleep, or in coma, that person is unconscious, which means his voluntary organs have stopped functioning or have been put to rest for some time. That is the meaning of consciousness in the medico-biological terms. When we say consciousness, we are talking of the existence of awareness at a far deeper, far non-cognitive level. This is not a cognitive level. So, is the person under coma still aware? He's fully there. He's conscious. He's consciousness. He's consciousness. We are not talking of the consciousness in the neurological terms. We are talking of consciousness as in chit. Right? His chitta. Now, this is interesting. Chitta means mind. Mind stuff. Yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Chitta. Double T. Right? When you put in English, you will say C-H-I-T-T-A. Whereas chit means consciousness. C-H-I-T. Or in Hindi, if they were agree with ta. And there will be a double ta. Chitta vritti nirodha. Waves of in the mind. Chitta may have gone to sleep. Chit never goes to sleep. Chit is permanently, all the time existing. But when you are in that presence, what happens? So that awe, that wonder, that sense of fear, you can overcome it when you say and you admit that there is something bigger than you. In general, हमारे लिए सबसे बड़ा क्या है? बोले मैं हूं, मेरा ईगो है, मेरी छोटी छोटी चीज वासनाएं हैं, ये सबसे बड़ी है. But when you admit there is something bigger, is when you can then go into a different zone. And then you do what Arjuna has been doing. And in verse number 38, he says, 39, he says, we can follow the shlokas with me. Vayur yamogni varunah shashankaha. Vayur yamogni varunah shashankaha. Prajapatistvam prapitamahascha. Prajapatistvam prapitamahascha. Vayur yamognir varunah shashankaha. Prajapatistvam prapitamahascha. Namo namastestu sahasrakritvaha. Namo namastestu sahasrakritvaha. Punascha bhuyopi namo namaste. Punascha bhuyopi namo namaste. Namo namastestu sahasrakritvaha. Punascha bhuyopi namo namaste. Vayur yamognir varunah shashankaha. Prajapatistvam papitamahascha. Namo namastestu sahasrakritva. Punascha bhuyopi namo namaste. Word by word. Vayu, the presence of the wind, god of wind. Yama. Yama is not, typically Yama is said to be the god of death. Actually, Yama is not the god of the death, of god of death. Any idea what does the word Yama mean? Asimji, we have done this in Tattvaloka class, Tattvabodha classes. Yama. The word Yama means controller, control. So Yamaha is he who controls. He who controls. Controls what? The process of life. And that is why the process of life, not the process of death. Death is the ending of the body. That's all. Right? I heard a very interesting one. This is actually from Osho, and then I have heard Sadhguru also ask this. Have you ever seen a dead man? Anybody? Have you seen a dead man? Yes.
Dead body.
झूठ बोल रहे हैं आप लोग. डेड मैन नहीं देखा है आप लोगों ने, डेड बॉडी देखा है.
Dead body.
Nobody has seen a dead man or a dead woman. You've only seen a dead body. So the whole idea of death is something that we have created fictionally in our minds. And he goes through an entire series of logical arguments about it. Very powerful arguments. Death किस चीज का हो सकता है? Only that which is going to change. Body का हो सकता है. You can never die. And we saw that in chapter 2 itself. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya. He says that very clearly. This body will become old, useless. Old, he doesn't say old. He says it becomes useless. Jirna, useless. It no longer is useful. Discard it. Just exactly. I was to go for some function and I took out a kurta. And I realized that uske sleeve ke wahan se phata hua hai. So immediately you give it to the tailor, got it stitched. And I said, okay, now this ka life ho gaya. Find somebody and give it to him. Vasamsi jirnani. Jirna ho gaya. Now the cloth of that kurta was very fine. If after being stitched up, it is perfectly all right, perfectly usable, will last for another 3-4 years. But okay, now that I've got it stitched, I don't want it, I give it away. Vasamsi jirnani. Same way, exactly the same way. I will give up this body. So here he says, therefore, Vayu, Yama, Agni, the principle of. So here he is talking of the elements, right? He doesn't specifically mention space, but he brings in the element of space through Shashanka. Shashanka means what? Literal meaning?
Moon.
Literal meaning. It represents the moon. Shashi, Shasha means rabbit. Anka means drawn with the mark of. So he who has the mark of the rabbit. Now, in India, we don't see a man in the moon. Typically, हम लोग एक rabbit दिखता है हम लोगों को, right? That's our cultural imagination. So the cultural imagination, हम लोग को वहां moon के ऊपर में एक rabbit दिखता है. Now, where does moon hang around? In space. So the first the words in the first shloka in 38, he is talking of the 5 elements. He's talking of saying these 5 elements are around you. You are the 5 elements: Vayu, Yama, Agni, Varuna, Shashanka, right? All of these, the elements that are around you. Prajapati. Prajapati, who is Prajapati? What is Prajapati? The word Praja means children. He, Pati, means Lord of all the children, which means the father of all these children. Who created all these children? That is all of us. Who created? So there are few, no, not Brahma. There are few, Brahma didn't create anybody of us. Brahma created those who created us, right? So those people who created all of us, Daksha, Kashyapa, right, Manu, these are people who are called Prajapatis. These are the people. So Daksha had a multitude. He didn't have a son. He had a multitude of daughters. And they all got married to various rishis. And those rishis then created all sorts of beings. And the most prolific of them was Kashyapa. So Kashyapa got married to Surasa and created a whole bunch of serpents. He got married to Kadru and created a whole bunch of snakes. He got married to Surabhi and created cows. He got married to Sharma and created dogs, and so on and so forth. And he got married to Aditi and created the Devas. And he got married to Aditi and he created the Daityas. And all of these. So if you don't know your Gotra, you are Kashyapa Gotra. So that is why, because he is the residuary. He got married to everybody that was left over. And he produced all the other. So he is a Prajapati. Prajapati. And then Prapitamaha, great grandfather. That is Brahma.
No, he is the creator of Brahma. So he is great grandfather. Brahma is known as the grandfather. Yeah, so he's
okay. Prapitamaha is, yes. Agreed. So he is Prapitamaha. Why Prapitamaha? So Prapitamaha here will mean specifically Vishnu. Because the creator of Brahma is Vishnu. Because Brahma, actually, even Vishnu is not the creator of Brahma. One lotus is the creator of Brahma. The lotus arises from the navel, and then Brahma emerges from that. We will not get into the mythological stories over there, but essentially he is saying you are all of this, right? So therefore I bow to you. Namo namastestu. Nama namastestu. Sahasra kritva. 1,000 times. Punascha. Punacha. Right? Punacha. Again and again. Bhuyaha. Again. Api, he also. So I am bowing to you 1,000 times and again and again. Namo namaste. Why? Why is he bowing so much? Why is he going to do this continuous bowing down? When we are in the presence, one thing that cannot be is your ego. I forget the exact lines of Kabir, but he says, essentially, he says, जब मैं था तब हरि नहीं, जब हरि थे तब मैं नहीं. Right? That ego, that is मैं, vanishes when you are in that presence. And therefore, what do? You put your head down. The chopping off of the head has always indicated the destruction of ego. So when Kali holds a head in her hands, it is not that it is not the head of a demon. If you have seen the iconography, it is the head of a human being. It is the head of a human being that she is holding in her hands. It is the ego that she has destroyed. When Daksha's head is chopped off, what is removed? His ego that I am the Prajapati and therefore I do not need to bow down to Shiva is chopped off. When Ganesha's head is chopped off, it is that I do not recognize anything excepting Prakriti. I will refuse to recognize Purusha. Ego. When that ego is replaced with wisdom, then you become Ganesha. Then you become Prajapati. Right? So that is what is the state in which Arjuna is at this point of time. So we move on to verse number 40. Now, we have a, okay, so Abhishek has asked what is Chetana. I'll answer that a little while later. Question noted. So, the Max Muller defines our religion. It's a wrong definition, the way I look at it, but then in any case, it's a definition which we need to understand. Is he calls it henotheism, H-E-N-O, henotheism, which means that we accept a multitude of deities. Each of them is a representation of the ultimate. Each of them is a representation of the ultimate. Now, if you go to a very simple example, such as the Ganesha Atharva Shirsha, right? Raghuji, Veenaji, you know the Ganesha Atharva Shirsha, right? First anuvak, in the ending, tam agnishcham, tam vayustat suryastat chandramastam brahmastam brum brahma bhur bhuvaswarom, right? You are Agni, you are Vayu. So Ganesha has become suddenly the Vishwarupa. Ganesha has taken on the Vishwarupa. You go to the Rigved and you look at the Devi Suktam, also called the Vaka Suktam. He says, Aham Rudre bhi Vasu Vichara. I am Rudra, I am the Vasus, I am the one who makes the Vasus go around in this world. I am Rashtri, I am the king, I am the queen of all that I see. He announces. So that infinity encapsulated within a finite form is something that is very particular to Sanatana Dharma only. And therefore here, in the next shloka, he says, Nama purastadatha prishtaste Nama purastadatha prishtataste Namostute sarvata eva sarva Namostute sarvata eva sarva Nama purastadatha prishtataste Namostute sarvata eva sarva Ananta vidyamita vikramastvam Ananta vidyamita vikramastvam Sarvam samapnoshi tatosi sarvaha Sarvam samapnoshi tatosi sarvaha Ananta vidyamita vikramastvam Sarvam samapnoshi tatosi sarvaha Nama purastadatha prishtataste Namostute sarvata eva sarva Ananta vidyamita vikramastvam Sarvam samapnoshi tatosi sarvaha Nama purastad. Purastad, in the front. Now, our directions, the way we name our directions has also come from this only, right? We are supposed to sit facing east when we do puja. One of the prayogas of puja is that you are supposed to face east. Now, east is in front of you. So, purva. West is behind you. Paschim. This is the back. Pascha. Behind. South is to your right. Dakshina. Right? Dakshina. The word Dakshina itself means right. And that which is left over, Uttara. On the right, on the left hand side. So the names of the directions also. So here also he says, Nama Purastad Atha Prishtataha. Prishta at the back. So I see you in the front, I see you at the back, I am bowing down to you in every direction. Nama astu te to you, sarvata from all sides. I am going around you, bowing down to you in all sides. I was asked this beautiful question, why do we do pradakshina? And why do we not walk on the opposite side? Why don't we walk on the left side, and so on and so forth? So now, why don't we walk on the left side is a different, there is a different theory and all that. But essentially, the whole idea of pradakshina is basically to accept the fact that that which I saw just now in the Garbhagriha, that which I have just now worshipped in the Kalash in my house, or that which I have just now installed and worshipped in the form of a Shivalinga, and I'm going around worshipping it in all directions, means that this is only a manifestation of that limitless infinity which is now present across. That is Pradakshina. So when you go around Kailash, when you go around Govardhan Giri, when you go around the Giriraj in Girnar, or you go around Tiruvannamalai, that is the principle that we follow. So, okay, why only clockwise and why not clockwise? We will talk about Pradakshina and Parikrama. Parikrama means to go around. Pradakshina means to go around in a clockwise manner. Dakshina. So he says, then he says, Ananta Virya, you have infinite power. Amita Vikramaha, Amita. The word Neya means to measure. Neya means to measure. Mita also means to measure. Amita, that which cannot be measured. Amita, and he says, Amita Vikrama. Vikrama means glory, might. Tvam Sarvam, you are everything. Samapnoshi, you pervade everything. Tataha, thus, you are everything. Tat Asi Sarvaha, you are everything. This is a beautiful Advaitic word. See, in Sankhya philosophy, we get stuck with the duality, where it says that I am Purusha, everything else is Prakriti. Very good. If I have attained that, I have attained liberation according to Sankhya. But I get into a problem here. So Abhishek has also attained that Purusha, and I have attained that Purusha. Now there is two Purushas roaming around. And these two Purushas can be fighting with each other also. Now where are we? We got stuck. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa very beautifully says, that which you see as Purusha and that which you see as Prakriti is nothing but the same essence on which you have seen the identity. That is such a beautiful explanation. He transcends this Purusha Prakriti and makes it into one and says, and is there a scriptural authority to this? Of course there is. If they look at the Ishavasya Upanishad, first line itself, it says, Ishavasyam idagam sarvam. This entire universe has become the Lord. And reverse. And then go to the Mahavakyas, it says, you are that. Tattvamasi. So therefore, here he says that you, tato si sarvaha, you have become everything. You have pervaded everything. You have become everything. Look at Vishnu Sahasranamam, first two words. Vishwam, Vishnoho. Vishwam, first the word Vishwam, this Prakriti, which we feel the world of name and form, which is different from the divinity. Oh, let me go into divinity by going and becoming secluded. Secluded from what? Secluded from your thoughts? Secluded from your body? Secluded from your intellect? Unfortunately, that we have carried there wherever we go. Gurudev used to always say, you can go to the Himalayas, but you will carry all the troubles of your family with you. One of the interesting things that used to be done in earlier days in Ramakrishna Mission is that the person used to be told to go to a particular place, and for 3 days, he was supposed to do deep meditation on the people he was going to leave behind, people and things that he was going to leave behind. So he was told to write down an essay, right? Suppose he had 2 brothers. Write down all the good things that you know and think about your brothers. Good things. Right? Sometimes we want to leave the world because we want to say, oh, my wife is very bothersome. Usko chhod ke jana hai. The problem is that the bothering created by your wife is in your brain, not in hers. She is very happy where she is. So therefore, you write a beautiful essay on your brother and you say, oh, he was such a good guy and he used to fly the kites with me, and we used to play gilli danda and we used to play the marbles with him, and then we used to go together into the pond and we used to have beautiful swimming competitions inside the village pond. And then he said, no, I don't want to give away my brother. So it's a big test. Vairagya is not easy. So how do we then live in this world? Very simple. It's very simple. It's actually very easy. We sometimes forget, we feel that by turning our face away from the world is going to make it difficult. It actually makes it more difficult. Take the world as a representation of the divine. The world itself is divine. Then there is no problem. Then you accept everything that is happening as a drama. See, when were you most happy? When you were studying or working in a job, or where you were playing? Or rather, let me put it even in our context. Where are you happier? Going to office or going to the mall? It's a no-brainer, right?
depends.
Going to office, really, going to office means you have a boss, you have a junior, both of them will come, they will complain about each other, they will behind your back complain about you, and so on and so forth. And then you will have a customer who is complaining about everything in general, and all of that is happening, and you are facing what is called negativity, because every time the basic principle of the corporate world is no, 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 no. And then you earn some money and you go to the mall and you spend the money, and you are feeling so happy because you are spending money and you are getting things, thinking that these things are going to give you happiness. Correct? So therefore, when we are looking at the world and trying to run away from it, you don't realize that the world is always going to be with you wherever you are, because the world is in your mind. We did this in the last session, in a face-to-face session where Abhishek was part of this. And how do you see the world? You see the world basically through electrons. Right? The photons in this light have come into my eyes, translated into electrons. They jumped into my brain, and the brain did something with them which neurologists do not understand. And they converted this impulse into a thought. And I have seen the world. So the entire world got created in my mind, how I am seeing it, because it is through my thoughts, taken in through the inputs of my senses. Now, can I create those thoughts without the senses? Yes, of course, you can close your eyes and yet you can have the entire thought sequence happening. So the world gets created. So by running away from the world, it's not going to solve the problem. So therefore, here he very clearly says that Tvam sarvam samapnoshi tatosi sarvaha. Very clearly, he indicates that this world alone itself is divine. And then he moves on to verses number 41 and 42 together, which is basically very simple verbs. See, I have been playing around with this guy. I have shared secrets about how, see, he was also, in his avatar, in a lighter vein, Krishna was a womanizer, so was Arjuna. And I'm sure that best friend, and as best friends, both of them used to share notes. Oh, that girl, she is good looking, she is good, इसको ऐसे करके पटाओ, उसको ऐसे करके पटाओ. दोनों जन ऐसे आपस में बात करते ही होंगे. Right? I'm assuming this because most best friends, they will talk about, they are having similar characteristics, they will talk about all this. Now suddenly this chap is saying, oh God, this being, I was talking to this being and I was telling him how Chitramgada is very beautiful and Ulupi is not very beautiful. And oh my God, what was I doing? So he says, Sakheti matva prasabham yaduktam, He Krishna, He Yadava, He Sakheti. Sakheti matva prasabham yaduktam, He Krishna, He Yadava, He Sakheti. Ajanata mahimanam tavedam, Maya pramadat pranayena vapi. Ajanata mahimanam tavedam, Maya pramadat pranayena vapi. He says, Sakheti matva, thinking of you as a friend. Prasabham, with presumption. Prasabham, yat uktam, I have addressed you as just by your name. Hey Krishna, hey Yadava, hey, oh friend, hey buddy, come here. I've called you that, right? I've called you buddy. I've called you by your generic name, right? And I do this with my friends, right? Hey Sharma, idhar aa. Sharmain ko jaake bol ke aa. Right? No, Sharmain, I'm addressing my friends. Abhishek not talking to you, right? So that Abhishek is Sharma. So I'm not talking to the Sharma and the Sharmines. And basically, we talk like that with our friends, don't we? And now you suddenly realize that the friend is not actually a friend. He suddenly has disrobed himself and worn on the actual clothes that he's supposed to wear. And you find that, oh, he's the king of the world. So now he's saying, I addressed you with all these terms. Ajanata, not knowing, right? Ajanata, in ignorance. Mahimanam, Mahimanam, your greatness. Tavedam, Tava idam, this greatness of yours. Maya, by me. Pramadat, out of
Yeah.
negligence, out of pramada. And out of affection, pranayena, out of affection for you. Affection for what? That body, the mind, that intellect that you are also. And that is what you have taken on. For that, I va api, yeah, else. Then he says, yacha vahasartham sakritosi. Yacha vahasartham sakritosi. Vihara shayya shayyasana bhojaneshu. So in such, I addressed you avahasartham. I have addressed you with what do you call it, humorously, avahasa, right? I've slapped you on the back. You were walking past and I gave you one pat on the back. I have done that with you. Avahasa. I have done that with you. Sakritosi, vihara, while we were roaming around, while we were at play. Shaya, while we were resting. Asana, while we were sitting. Bhojaneshu, while we were eating. While we were eating, I suddenly lifted the achar from your plate and I gobbled it up. Or I took the rasgulla that was in your plate and I squeezed it, all that juice in your plate, but I ate the rasgulla. I did all that with you. Now, we'll analyze this. Then he says, Ekothavapyuchutan tat samaksham. He says, while alone, or tat samaksham, while in front of others. I didn't bother whether I was addressing you in front of individually. I was so close to you. And therefore, I didn't bother about whether I was talking to you in front of others or whether I was talking to you in private. In such a case, tat shamaye, shamaye, tvam aham prameyam. This immeasurable forgiveness, immeasurable sins that I have committed against you, innumerable of offenses that I have committed against you. Please forgive them, because I am seeking that forgiveness, because I have suddenly realized how great you are. What is the lesson to be learned here? You see, Krishna, yes, of course, Krishna is an avatar Purusha. And I have explained avatar Purusha earlier also about those who come down, right? Come down from a particular place to teach. But irrespective of that, we treat all our friends and enemies because of the body, mind, intellect, right? You are a friend because of your body, of your mind, and of your intellect. You are not a friend because you are the friend. I am a friend with that particular name form that I call Asim or I call Raghu. And I am friendly with that. And there is somebody else I am not friendly with. Right? We have those who of us, we went to Kailash, Asimji, Raghuji, we went to Kailash, and I think Shailaja Akka is also on the iPhone, and we went to Kailash, and we had a very nice person. We didn't like him, right? And unfortunately, he had a name which was also something which we said we shouldn't like him. His name was Karma. So getting attached to Karma would have been very difficult, right? Difficult to get through. Now, his behavior, right? But what are we talking about? His behavior meaning where is it coming from? It's coming from his body. It's coming from his mind. It's coming from his intellect. Does this mean that I have to behave the same with him as I behave with somebody else who I like? No. There is something called Vyavaharika Satta and there is something called Paramarthika Satta. I deal with you just because the snake is the same as you. in essence, does not mean that you go next to the snake and sit down next to it. There's a beautiful story from Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa. There was a guru, and he was teaching Advaita, and he said, you are that, you are Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi, and you are that, Tattvamasi, and you are the nature of knowledge, Prajnanam Brahma, and that Atma that you are, that itself is Brahma. I am Atma Brahma. All the 4 Mahavakyas he taught. Having taught all the 4 Mahavakyas, the students, they had to do their daily jobs. So they went out into the forest to collect firewood. While they were collecting firewood, there was a musk elephant which was coming. And the musk elephant was, there was a Mahut riding on it. And this Mahut was shouting at the top of his voice, move away, the elephant is must, the elephant is must. So this boy, he refused to move. All the others scattered. The elephant passed by, lifted this boy in his trunk, threw him against a tree, and moved on. Now the boy had all injuries all over his body. They managed to pick him up, bring him there, and they gave him all sort of some balms and some heating and some cooling and all that they made. And when he came to consciousness, and Gurudev asked him, Beta, why did you not move away when the elephant was coming? So he said, but Gurudev, you yourself said that I am Brahman. If this entire world is Brahman, so why should I move away? And where do I move? Brahman cannot move. Brahman is everywhere. I cannot move away from there. So he said, yes, you are right. Absolutely right. And therefore you, the Brahman, which was standing, there was Mahut Brahman, which was saying, move away. Why did you not listen to the Mahut Brahman? Vyavaharika Satta is not the same as Paramarthika Satta. To function in this world with the attitude of knowing that which is moving, coming towards me to bite me is also the Brahman, does not mean that I become foolish in this world and say, let that bite me. It is not going to cause me any damage, because there will be damage, and that is going to be caused to the body. And the body, like any other vehicle that you use, you need to take care. I go to the gym. Why do I go to the gym? Because I have to take care of my body. I send my car for servicing. Why do I send my car for servicing? Because I need to use my car for 15 years. I take care of my house. Why do I take care of my house? For the same reason. Because I need to live inside the house. But I am not the house. I am not the body. I am not the car. It is the same for me. When I say, how I look at the car is exactly how I look at this body. But I will take care of it. Because it is needed to do certain work. So hence here he says very clearly that I am begging for forgiveness in terms of when I looked at you as a body, mind, intellect, and therefore I treated you as such, and I differentiated, and I therefore patted you on the back and cursed Duryodhan. I was wrong. That is the sin that he has committed. That is the forgiveness that is required. Not Hey Sakha, Hey Sakheti, Hey Yadava, Hey Krishna. No. That is only part of it. The bigger part of it is also saying, Hai Duryodhan, Hai Dushasan, Hai Karna. इधर हे कर रहा है, उधर हैक कर रहा है, दोनों में गलतियां है. दोनों में गलतियां है. और ये गलती समझने के बाद अर्जुन says, forgive me for the innumerable number of times in all my interactions in this world, I have functioned with only the body, mind, intellect, and not looking beyond it. So that is where we will stop. One question that has already come is the difference between what is Chetana and so therefore what is Chetana. So as usual, does anybody have any idea or thought that you want to express? Otherwise, I will try and see if I can. I always say this, I've said this in the Yatra also. Questions means attempt all questions. It does not mean answer all questions. So exam paper में वैसे ही लिखते थे ना engineering में Abhishek, attempt all questions. It never said answer all of them right. Attempt all questions. Attempt करना है. सही होगा गलत होगा वो बाद में देखा जाएगा. So any idea? What is Chetana?
It's a kind of energy.
Okay.
Consciousness.
Okay. Any other?
It's awakening. Awakening.
So the word Chetana is a very interesting word. It has two roots. It has one root as Chit. It also has another root as Chitta. Both roots are applicable to the word Chetana. Hence, Chetana, as when you derive it from Chit, it will mean awareness. Right? Chetana means that Chit which is all pervading. When it is localized in this body, mind, intellect, it becomes Chetana. Right? But when I take it from Chitta, mind, and then I say my mind is awakened, Chetana, then it's just only saying that you are in the Jagrat or in the Sapnavastha. You are not in Sushupti. That is all it is saying. It means that your mind is still having waves. It is functioning. So contextually, you have to understand where is Chetana. I mean, any language, you have to understand it contextually. I've always said that. Any language, right? So when we say the word ROW, what does it mean?
Row.
What does it mean? To take oars and to take oars and move a boat. Correct?
चप्पू चलाना.
हाँ, ठीक है. Now I'm giving you another sentence. The husband came home late and the husband and wife were having a ROW.
Fight.
You change the pronunciation, you change the meaning, but the word is the same, ROW. Now, contextually, it changed the meaning. Or it does not mean that the husband came late, so they took out a boat and they went out into the lake and started rowing a boat. So, if we do not understand the context, we will never understand the language. So, therefore, when you look at the word Chetana, always look at, and I've used this word, I've used this joke a number of times, Aja and Ajaha. And Aja means that which is not born. Aja also means goat. So if I say Aja Srishtikarta, it cannot mean that the goat created the world. So contextually, when you look at it and you say, fine, are we talking about the mind stuff or are we talking about awareness? Is how you will interpret Chetana. Any other questions? Okay, so let's end for now. Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.